Hi, welcome to another stream with me, Daniel Hindrikes. Today I will do something different. It's still in the same app, or for the same app. I will do some Azure stuff today. As you have seen in my other streams, I have worked with ecom app, but I only have had mocked product. So today I will start to create a backend. Maybe we'll continue with that in the next stream as well, it depending on how long we will come today. But the idea is that we should build an API that we can use when we're working with the app, so we'll have a little bit more data and better data. So what we would do today is that we should import products to a database in Azure, and we will use Cosmos. And I have a file with a lot of products. So we will write code to upload that to CosmosDB. After that, we will write some code for creating a search index using Azure Search. And we will build a function or maybe code that retriggers a complete new index, and we will also write some handlers when the Cosmos DB has changes. It will also update the search index. You can do some of those parts in the Azure portal, but I will write code to handle that. So I have already created the Azure resources. So we have a Cosmos database, we have a search service, and we have an Azure function app. But we have not created any projects or code for those. So that is what we should do today. So if we go to Visual Studio, here is the correct one. You're pretty familiar with this solution if you have followed my other streams, but I have done some changes to it also. I created a new solution folder called backend and one for clients. So all the app projects are in the clients folder. Then we have the models project. I have created a few new models instead of category. This is only we have collections of data. It's just an ID and the title. Then here is the old product model. I don't want to remove that one yet because we have code that are depending on it, and instead I call my new one for product item. So this is basically data I've exported from Shopify. I have a friend that I'm helping with his web shop, so I export some data from his web shop, and then we can use it. So we have a couple of JSON files here. One with products, with some basic product data. Then we have one with all the collections. So if you don't understand Swedish, you can practice your Swedish right now. Spinfishing, spinfiske, ice drills, isborrar. But why focus on that now when we can focus on writing code? So the first thing we will do with those products is, of course, to read them into our importer application, and then we will pass them to Azure Cosmos DB. So to do the Cosmos stuff, we need to add the Cosmos NuGet package. We just double check what the name of that is. It's Microsoft Azure.cosmos. It was as simple as that. So let's add that to this console application, because we don't need to have this project deployed to Azure. It's just on my local device to upload the products for the first time. Maybe we can write a UI in another stream to add more products. So Microsoft.azure.cosmos Cosmos. Here it is. We install that one. I also want to install JSON.NET, Newtonsoft.json, because I think it's a little bit easier to use Newtonsoft.json compared to system text JSON serializer. But both works. But for now, we will use the JSON.NET one from Newtonsoft. Okay, so let's go to our program.cs, and the first thing we will do is to get the JSON or the string from the file. Read all text, and because this is C#9 and .NET 5, we don't need to have a public static void main here. We need to accept the licenses for the Cosmos package, so let's do that. Also make sure that we are exported this JSON file to the output directory. We didn't, so let's add that, so it will be copied to the bin folder. Okay, so let's I can copy the name, so it will be right. Exported products.json, and we can also, to be clear, product JSON. Cannot assign file, now append read all text, and we don't need to do this async here. And after that, we need to deserialize the JSON to our object. JSON convert dot deserialize object, and we will have them as a list of product item. Now we need to go and add the reference to that project, like this, and pass the product JSON into it. Of course, we also need to add a using for the namespace. Okay. Often we need to wait a bit for the intelligence to understand that, but we can add it manually because it's very simple. Tackle store.models, like this. So we can try to run this just to make sure that it works. Number of products.count, and then we can add a console.read line, just so the console not will be closed down. Oh, we need to set the startup project, of course. Otherwise it will run the iOS app that was the last project I ran. But now we're running the console app instead. Build succeeded. Let's see where the console is. Here it is. Number of products, 218. So that worked. So let's do the same with the collections. Collection JSON. Read all text. Copy the name so I don't misspell it. JSON. Okay, we can copy this one to make it a little bit faster, so we can focus on the Azure CosmosDB part instead. Collections, JSON, list of collection, and collection JSON. Copied a little bit too fast here. Oops. Collection JSON. Collection JSON. Okay. Let's try to run this too. Number of collections.count. Okay, let's see if this works. Number of products 218, number of collections 52. Yeah, nice. I can remove that one. We don't need two outputs of it. Okay, so now we have the products in memory. Now we can start to add them to the Cosmos database. Here we have it in Azure. But we need a connection string, so we can go here to keys. I can zoom a bit, maybe it will be easier for you to read. Keys. Then we have read and write keys, and we have read-only keys. For this, we need a read and write key, so we can take the primary connection string here. Then we can add it to a variable. When we are doing a real code later, that will run in Azure, we'll put it in a configuration file. But for now, we can have it here. I will remove it before I push this to GitHub, because I push all code I'm doing to my GitHub repository called Tekel Store here. So all code will be available here more or less immediately after the stream. So connection string we have here. So now we need to create a new Cosmos client. It's called variable client. New Cosmos client, spells like that. So now we can add the connection string here. Connection string. And now we need to create a database in Cosmos if it not exists. In this case, we can do it with code, or we can do it in the portal. So let's do that in the portal so we can see what options we have when we have a database. So let's go to the Data Explorer. I think it's there we can do it here, if I remember right. And the Data Explorer is a little bit slow to load, but we can do it. I think they call it container here. Now here we have new database. Products. And here we can set some throughput, and the costs are based on this one, what you set here. So it's maybe better to create it in the portal so you know what values you will have here, or via the Terraform or ARM template, or whatever you use for deploying your resources to Azure. But we will use the default value of 400 here. So let's create the database. So when Azure working with this, we can go back and write some code. So let's go and get the database. Database is client dot get database. Here, if you want, you can use create database if not exist async, but we don't need to do that right now. So you can just use get the database and pass the string to it, the Cosmos database ID, and that should be the same as the name we gave to it. So products in this case. And now we also need a container, and the container is like a collection of documents, because CosmosDB is a document database, at least as I created it. Because you can use CosmosDB with other providers as well. But this is a document DB, or I think they call it like SQL SQL of some reasons, because you can also write SQL against it to get result. But I think it would be a better name to just call it a document DB, because that is what it is. And the name from the beginning was also Azure Document DB, but I guess there are some marketing people that thought SQL was good, even if I don't like it. container database dot get container. We can call that products also. And then we will create another container for our collections. Even if you want to have cheaper options, you can probably store your collections also in a table storage, for example, or just in a blob storage, because it's cheaper and you don't need the data structure that you have with a document, because it's just a straight list in this case. But for now, we will use CosmosDB for both. Let's see if let's have finished here with the database. Yes, it have. So let's create a new container. Use existing database products. Container ID will also be products. Indexing off. Yes, we can index it. Partition key. Then we can have. We need to set the partition key, but we should be able to set that we don't need a separate specific key as well. I think it will be like partition. We can use that value. I think they use that in the example. I'm not really sure, but that will work at least. So let's create a container. Okay, now we have the products collection here, but we don't have any items inside of it yet. So that is the next step we should do. So when we have our container, we can add items to it. So create item async is one method that we can use. I also think we can use replace, even if it's not a new one. But we don't need that in this case, so we can just create an item, and we can transaction batch. Nah, we don't batch them. So let's do a for each. Product in products. So let's pass the product. We don't need to pass the partition key. It should be able to do just like this. Okay, let's try to run this, or we can, of course, we can write the code for collections first also. So let's create a new container. Collections. Let's add the same partition. Okay, when we're waiting for that, let's write some code for that too. So we can rename this to product container. Then we can also get a collections container, database.get container collections. Like this, and then we can also loop them through. We don't need performance right now. In collections. Oops. So collections container, and then we can create item async, or should we use item async? Okay, we can also do, why this is an async method, we can also do like this. We can add them in a task.run so that we can use await. I'm not sure if that is needed, but it will look better. Now we can use await here. Or we can do like this, we can batch them in some way, at least run them in parallel. Collection task is new list of task. So instead of having a wait here, we can do collection tasks dot add like this, and then we can run all tasks here. So task dot when all collection task, and have a wait here. No, not there. We should have a wait on line 41. A wait. So now they will add collections in a list, and they will run all the tasks in parallel. Then we also can add an output here, so we know when it's ready. Write line collection import as finished. I think we should do the same with products. Product. It looks better if we call it tasks instead of task because it's multiple. Let's do the same here. Product tasks, and then we add an upload task of products to it. And of course we should wrap this in a task.run as well. Like this. Products task.add, and then we can await task when all. So it will wait for all tasks to complete. Okay, now we have written all the code for importing the products to the database. Let's just verify that Azure is ready with the collection. Yes, it is. Okay, let's try to run this. So we set a breakpoint here so we can step through it to see that everything works. We have already run this code. So let's try to run it again, and we will have the debugger starting when we have the new code. So let's see if we can connect to the Cosmos database. Okay, here we are. Works so far. Let's set the breakpoint inside there so we can break there. Okay, now we are in the first run of the loop, and it's adding tasks. Okay, we don't need to step through all products, so just continue to run it, and we will see if we will get any exceptions, because I'm catching all exception by have this system exception catch point enabled. Okay, so let's go. Okay, let's go back to the terminal so we know when it is finished. Okay, no exceptions so far. That's good. It will probably take a while to do this because we don't optimized it and did some batching against the Cosmos, but maybe we can see items that have been added here already. No, nothing yet. Maybe collections. No. Okay, let's go back to Visual Studio. See what happens. So we have a console.read line here, so it will not terminate the terminal when because this is async, so we need to have that one, so this will be able to run. Okay, but I guess it doesn't help if we set the breakpoint here. We have still gone past that point, and it right now working with the tasks. And because that is not our code, we cannot set the breakpoint there. Maybe we have some products now. No. Okay, now we have an exception. Bad request. The input is invalid because the required properties are missing. Okay, we need an ID property. And it looks like it has to be with the lowercase. Okay, wonder why it took so long for the exception to happen. Okay, but I think it should be enough to just add a JSON property. Property. Okay, we don't have newtonsoft.json in this project, of course, but we can add that. That's okay. So we can add an attribute to make sure it is with the lowercase, like this. Just need to wait for it to be. Yeah. And once again, Studio can be a little bit slow, but to detect that NuGet packages has been added, so we can add it manually using newtonsoft.json. And it will work, and we will do the same for the collection. Let's see if this will work better now. Okay. So hopefully this doesn't have to be a string, but if that is the case, we can change that. Okay, let's run again. Let's see if we have any breakpoint left. Yes, we are here. Okay, so let's start the export again to see what happens. I wonder why it took so long for the exception to happen. I still don't have any data here. Maybe it retried a few times. But when we are waiting for this to complete, we maybe can create a functions project, if that is possible, when the debugger is running. Yes, it is. Okay, so let's do that. In Visual Studio for Mac, you find the template for functions under the Cloud tab. So here we have Azure Functions. We will use C#. Okay, before we name the project, they want us to create our first function. So let's do. We can have a time trigger that will recreate the search index once every day, every 24 hour. Function name, recreate search index. Oh, I'm terrible bad on those cron expressions, but this means at least that it will run every 5 minutes. But we can change that later when we have written the code for it. Okay, then we can call it just functions, maybe. Functions. Okay, now we had an exception with upload to the database. The input name. Yeah, okay. I hate that this bug that they shows exception messages outside of the window, but we probably can see them here in the locals too. Copy value. I can copy the value, and we can just add it here to read it. Oops. Okay, that didn't work that good. Well, oh, okay, here it is. Response status code does not indicate success. Yeah, I understand that. Oh, the input name is invalid. In short, part a unique non-empty string less than. Okay, so the ID needs to be a string. Okay, then we have to change that, and we also maybe what has happened here? Okay, we also maybe need another model because the data in the JSON file is right now a long. So let's copy this one and do a product import item instead. You can remove that one from here. Then we change the string here. We will do the same for collection. String ID, okay, and collection, import collection. Okay, so let's go back here to the importer program. So then we need to map the product object to a new object. So let's do that. Var just call it items. Products dot select new product item. Okay, we also need to do product item import item here like this, and we need to have collection import collection here. Okay, so we need to map those properties over. So we have ID is x.id.toString. We have body is x.body, collection ID. So just ID, that not will be the same here. Options. Title. Okay, that is the product items. Then we change the items there, and okay. Collections, so we'll do the same here. Or items is collections.select new collection. ID is x.id to string. Okay, so let's loop through that collection instead and see if it works better now. Yes. Okay, let's run this. Oh, we have 9 build errors. It's our web jobs. Okay, it's in the. Okay, why is the functions project added here? Okay, let's delete it. Delete, and then we probably need to remove that one as well. Okay, let's see if it works better now when we don't have a function project inside of our other project. We need to double check that next time we create a function project so we have saved on the correct place. Okay, it builds, so let's run it. So let's see what happens now. We hit the breakpoint. We can remove the breakpoint and let's let it run. Okay, let's see how long this will take. It's not a huge amount of products, so I hope it will be pretty fast. Let's see if we can see any products in the not Data Explorer yet. No. That is not good. Okay, let's wait and see if we'll get a new exception. Maybe we need to have a partition key specified in the model as well. Okay, but let's do a new try to create the function project. Functions. We can use a HTTP trigger to recreate the index instead. Then we can add a button in our admin UI when we build that in another stream. Can be anonymous for now. Okay, let's make sure that we add it on the correct location this time. So we will have it on this level instead. Great. And now we have the functions project here. Now something happens. Now it just opened it. Okay. And so here's our first function. Okay, now we have exception. Boom, for product tasks, show details. Okay, this was very useful. Now it's here. Reason indicate not success. Request timeout 408. Okay, maybe we should try to not batch them or run them in parallel so we can see for each item when something goes wrong. So we can comment that away. And just add an await here instead. And remove the add, of course. Okay, so let's try to run it. Now we can debug it in a better way. Let's see what's really happened. And let's see if we have any data here. Yes, we have. Okay, so it just took too long time. Maybe we should use replace items async instead so we don't create new items. Okay, let's try that. Replace item async. Oh no, we cannot use that because then we need an ID. Maybe this is enough with products for us also. It looks like we have a couple of them. Okay, so that could be fine for now. Let's see if we have any collections. Yes, we have. Yes, let's continue instead of writing import code. So let's go to our function. We should add the reference to the NuGet package for Cosmos here too. Add package. We also need a package reference for Azure Search. Just let me check what that one is. Azure, Microsoft Azure.search. That was simple. Yep. So accept on the license. Manage NuGet packages. Microsoft.Azure.search. And add that package to the functions project. don't need to sign in now because this is against NuGet. Probably had some other NuGet sources added too. That's why Visual Studio want me to sign in. Okay, let's accept the license for that package as well. Okay, now we are ready to write code. Now you can see here that we have both Azure Cosmos, we have Azure Search. So now we can take the connection string to Cosmos that we have here, and we can add it to our local settings JSON file here and add a new value, Cosmos connection. And the local settings.json is not added to source control, so this will just be a local connection string. Then we need to add it to the Azure service later instead. So we can remove it from here right now because I don't want to push that connection string, even if I can revoke it if I want to. So we have it here. Functions. This is our first function, the HTTP triggered one. We can remove everything from it. For now, we can write all the code inside of the function, but I recommend you to break it out from the function so you can replace the function with some other front end, or what we should call it, for just so you can replace a function with something else to create a common library for your backend code as well. But we don't need that right now. We can refactor it a bit in a later stream maybe. So we can copy this code. So we don't have to write it again, but instead we will get the connection string from an environment variable, because the settings will generate an environment variable. Let's go here and see what I named it. CosmosDB connection, like this. Let's go back here and add the value here. So Cosmos client, we need to add a use into the namespace. Okay, and now we are fine. We also need to have a connection string to the search. So let's go to Azure and grab that. Tackle search. Keys. Admin key. Could be fine to have. But we don't get any connection string here. Okay, that's fine. We can create that on our own. But let's go here first and add this to the settings file. Search key. Then we probably need a search URL or something like that too. But we will see that when we're creating a search client. So search client is new search service client. Then we need search client credentials. Okay, let's create that. What was the other options? Search service name. Yeah, we need that first. Then we can go to Azure and grab that. It's just tackle search, I think. Yes. We can put that in the settings too, so it will be easy to change without affecting the code. Search instance name. Tackle search. Okay. Let's go back to the function and read search key. It's environment dot get environment variable and fetch the search key one. search key. I can copy this. Let's double check what I named it. Search instance name. Search instance name. Okay, so search instance name, new search credentials, and search key pass to that one. Okay, so now we have a search client, but now we need to create an index model, so we can specify what to index. So we can create a new class that is product index model. Let's take a look at the product model to see what we need. I think we want title. We want a body. So let's copy that over. Use a record here too, because it's fun to have C#9 things. Okay, we don't have enable nullable here, so I have a warning on the question mark. So let's do that too. Nullable, enable. Okay. Now I think we should get rid of the error, maybe later. We can try to build it. It maybe will help. Yes. But we also want to have okay, what's the problem here? Expected, okay. Public record. We maybe don't have C#9 either, because this is a .NET Core 3.1 project, and that is needed for Azure Functions right now, but we can still use C#9. But C#9 is not the default language for Azure Functions and .NET Core 3.1. In this model product item here, we have collections with just the IDs, but we don't want that. Maybe we should have changed this to strings as well, but okay, we can get it work. But we don't want the IDs in the search. We want the names, so we'll be able to search on categories name. So instead, we will do like this. We will just have a public string property that is collection names, and then we can just add all categories name like as one string. So let's go back to the functions. Now we want to get all collections from the Cosmos database, and we also want to get all the products, but first we want all collections. Var collections is collections container dot get item read container. Just let me check what the best way is to get all products. Not products. We need to get all collections, of course. We can just create a query if we want to see how it works with SQL inside our Cosmos. Here is Visual Studio, so we can do like this. Or query select all from C. Of course, we need to use the collections container. Then we have the collection. We don't have a reference to that project either, so we need to add that. It should not be a NuGet package. We add reference, add models. Collection. Let's see if it understands that we've added that namespace now. Okay, looks like Visual Studio is a little bit tired. I guess we have to restart it because it doesn't use to get out of this freeze. New instance. Yeah, okay, where do we have that one? Here on the other monitor. But I will soon bring it over to this one. So here, I have Visual Studio again. Now we need to wait for it to load. Can be pretty slow sometimes. I'm really looking forward to they have a version optimized for M1. Right now it's running on Rosetta 2. That is a really good product, but if it will be on optimized for M1 and the Apple Silicon, it will be much faster. I'm really looking forward to that. Okay, now we are back. We can go to the function again, see if what code we have load from autosave. Okay, maybe we will have our code left. Yes, we have. So collection, then we need to add a using to the models project. Using tackle store models. Don't want to sign in. Let's see. We can also take a look at because we can run with the SQL and we can also run with the link. But we can try SQL to see how that works. So where is my Visual Studio? Here it is. Container get no, not like that. Iterator. Okay, we need to. Iterator is feed iterators. Okay, so let's loop through that one. Oops. A new list of collection. While iterator dot has more results. Response. No, call it collection. That is better. Collection is equal to await iterator dot read next async. Feed response. Okay. Okay, let's do this instead. Response. Maybe they are batching it. Read iterate response because then we can loop with a for each or item in response. Then we can do collections.add item. Yeah, like this. Overwrite the file. Yes, we want to do that. Okay, so now we have all the collection, but this maybe feels like it's a little bit complicated way to get all the data from a container. So let's remind myself how to easiest way to get all data from a Cosmos container. Get all document CosmosDB. Okay, here we have okay, they're creating a document query from client. Okay, let's do that for the products because we need all products. Client create. We don't have any query. Client. How old is this one? Create document query. We was not able to do that. Let's see if we find a better way to do it. Let's go to the Azure portal instead. Not the Azure portal, Azure Docs. Product, documentation. Feature product, CosmosDB. .NET app. Code examples. Add item, create a database, create a container, create an item, query the items. Okay, here they using the same way as we did with the SQL. Query definition, but they got back item query. We can do like that instead. That can be pretty nice. So let's change to do that. Await for each or item in iterator. Iterator is not null here. Okay, it's because we enable nullable. If iterator is not null, then we can do this. What's the problem? Asynchronous for non-variable feed iterator collection. No, okay. Get item query iterator. Get item query iterator. Something differs here. It looks like they got back an async enumerable. Query definition. Query definition. Get item query iterator. Can we? Are there other options? Get query item iterator. No. No one returns an async enumerable. Okay, that was a little bit strange, I think. Get item query iterator. I wonder if they have some other usings that we don't have for maybe. Cosmos client, create database container async. That's maybe can be the difference. Get container, get database, but we don't have the async options. Okay, let's try again. Get the database, create database async, create database if no. Okay, let's do that instead. See if that will change. Get await database is dot get. Okay, what happened now? Database response. Okay, database dot database. Okay, why make it easy? database dot create container if not exist async. Okay, container properties. Why? Other. Let's see if we have a get container. Yes, product container. Database. Copy that one. Let's see if we can do this async now. Get item query iterator. No, still. Get item query iterator. Okay, let's take a look here again. What they do difference. Cosmos client. Create database. Create a container. Get database. Cosmos. Okay. Okay, they're doing that async as well. Let's do that. Create container if it not exist async. New container properties. Products. Partition key path. I think we path. If we did like this, partition. Okay. Okay, let's see if we have any other options now. Iterator, product container, collections container. Okay, let's do the same for collections container. We had the same value there. Dot contain. We need an await, of course. Await. Product container. Container. Okay, now we're still the feed iterator. Let's see if we have any async options now. Then read container async. Read item async. Okay, strange. Yeah, it looks like their example doesn't work fully. Get container. Query the items. Okay, but time is up for now. I will check up how to do this to next week and we can continue. But I will push the code as it is right now so we can continue to work with it. And you can take a look at it if you want to. Comment that away for now. So at least it will build. Okay, thank you very much for watching this stream. If you have any feedback, you're welcome to send it to me via Twitter, for example. Thank you very much for watching. See you next time.